Hello everyone, Attack Power here with another deck building video here for 5th SS Panzer Viking. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button and subscribe for more SD2 and Warno content. Consider checking out that YouTube membership for early access, fun comments, emojis, and comment replies. Alright, so let's dive in here. 5th SS Panzer. This is definitely an older school division, not an OG, not like all the way back to the beginning, but one of the, I forget which expansion, one of the earlier ones, I think the second or third. I've actually enjoyed this division for a really long time. One of my buddies who played this game way back when actually brought this. I mean, it was like 2 years ago or something. He was like, "Yo, you ever play much 5th SS?" And back then there was a lot less divisions. There were still 70, 80 divisions. I was like, "Nah, not really my cup of tea, generally speaking." He's like, "Dude, check it out." And did, and it honestly, this deck just functions like an infantry division with a good tank tab. It's got a nice mix of tools. It doesn't have a ton of weaknesses that are like really blatant. So it actually these days I feel like falls into a good category of solid across the board. Is this like S tier? Absolutely not. But I've been finding some pretty good success on ladder with this in the quick play queue and stuff. Excuse me. It just doesn't. I never feel like I'm like, oh crap, I don't have any response to this sort of thing. So let's dive in here. Definitely one of the weaknesses of the deck here. Recon tap, really tight. It's got some nice options. They're not anything like amazing, but you have choices here. You have Aufklade, the usual Aufklade. Fortunately, they don't come in any really cool transports, but we are bringing them in the Schwimmwagen with the MG. Why? Because it sticks around then, can spot stuff. Yeah, I would like to vet these, but I really don't like running out of Recon. Option 2 here, taking the Aufklade Panzer 3. It's hard not to take Panzer 3s when they're available. They're just so efficient. Especially with the medium tank meta right now. These things are really good at clearing up half tracks and things like that, dealing with other light armor relatively well. I mean, you could definitely just take more infantry here, like Aufklade instead, and then vet these, and then vet these. You can end it with 9. I mean, certainly if you want to make sure you have plenty of infantry recon around, that's probably the right choice. But, sorry, I got something in my throat here. If you're like me, something feels wrong about not taking a Panzer 3. I would also love to take a Panther D Recon. I actually think these are pretty solid here in like A phase, bringing a singular one to work with. Unfortunately, again, the tab, it's just really tight. You don't really get a lot to work with here. Infantry tab is actually like, I mean, it's basically a Panzer tab, but there's a couple of little quirks about it that make it a little more interesting here. We are just A phase Pioneers, B phase Sturm Pioneers, and C phase Pioneer card with a veterancy there. I did forget to mention, we are playing balance. This deck does balance pretty darn well. You can go pretty long with it. You could definitely play a little more aggressive, but I don't think it's the most incredible aggressive deck. You don't have any armored cars and things. Your armor's relatively solid, but I'm not a huge fan of this deck. Super aggressive. It does have the ability to go long, which is the way I like it, but at the same time, I'm extremely biased to playing balance, so take that with a grain of salt. So anyway, our CQC, like I said, Pioneer, Sturm Pioneer here across the board. That's basically burning through everything. I'm not using the second tower Pioneers. These Sturm Pioneers, these are actually going up to 25 points soon, which is going to be, it's going to be a little rough for them. They are getting stronger, though, with an MP40 buff and stuff, so they will be good, but at 25 points, their cost efficiency is definitely pretty severely capped there. Pioneers still being solid. The Pioneers are really solid if you are using the ground attack trick, where basically if you tell the Pioneer to attack ground, flames don't move them then, and they can get their grenade off. It does make them a fair bit stronger, in fact, and can function a little bit as riflemen if you really need them to. But yeah, that's how I'm spreading out the CQC. So then I have CQC throughout the game. A good number to get me through the game. A phase then, leader. The leaders do come in with a whole bunch of fun half tracks. Yeah, you get a couple options down here. Oh, I thought there were more. Now I'm thinking of Gross Deutschland. My bad. But really, you have the SDKZ 251/10 option here. I actually really like this armored car half track here. It does a great job taking out other half tracks. Fires really fast. It's pretty accurate. The range is 1,000, which is nice for a gun of this type. Does 5 damage. So this thing, it's got a stupid amount of ammo for some reason, and it does fire HE on top of that. So this thing like really kind of actually does it all. for only 10 points, really hard to pass it up. Making this only 30 points, definitely worth it. I think you're making a mistake if you're not taking in that. Yeah, you could bring in like just in a fast transport, but I really think you're missing out not taking this. It can be super effective and really sacrificial. Trading this against much of anything is 100% worth it. Then we have 2 cards of Panzergren with Panzerfaust here in A phase. Both vetted. Panzergrens are Panzergrens. They're great. They're very solid infantry across the board. One in a half track, one not in a half track. I like having both options. I can get to the front line at the beginning quickly, but then having half tracks to move around, like I've mentioned before, half tracks are really strong right now. Even the Axis ones, which are, you know, less impressive, it still matters to have an armored unit being around, and it can be really effective. B phase, another card of Panzergrens, still with the Panzerfaust there. And in C phase, our last card of Panzergren here with no Panzerfaust on this one. Reason being, you get a couple more. Excuse me. You get a couple more in C phase of non-vetted. You know, if you do these guys in C phase, you actually lose 3. It's a very small difference. I understand that. But I'm just hedging my bets to have as many infantry as possible. Things we're not taking the majority here is the Panzergren MG34. I actually really like this unit. I love that it has 2 ZK383s, which are really good submachine guns. They have 150 meter range. The problem for me personally with this unit is I then imagine these guys being CQC good, and they're not. Like, they're still bad at CQC. Don't be fooled by the fact they have 2 actually really solid submachine guns. They're still bad at CQC, and the downgrade from the MG42 of the MG34 is too significant to ignore. The bonus of these guys really is that they come in with a much higher availability. So if you feel like you need more infantry, like if what I have set up here is just not enough for you, you can 100%, you know, like swap out a Panzergren in A phase for these guys, and then you get 2 more there. You could, you know, if you really feel like C phase, you just don't have enough, you can get 5 more here, swapping those out. Though, again, the MG42s are so much better. It's really hard to justify swapping out the regular Panzergren for this unit instead. The other leaders, there's really no... You do get 2 cards of Pioneer Fears, by the way, which is really cool, because you can actually bring 2 cards of these, the anti-tank ones. They only come in... Oh, no, wait. This one's different. I just noticed that. Oh, this is the Panzergren Fear. Excuse me. So you get 2 20-point infantry leader cards, which is really nice. This one comes with the Panzerbucha, which is way worse. This is nowhere near as good as the SDKs at 251/10. The 7 is definitely downgraded. The Panzerbucha, I think, is getting a buff, I want to say, coming up soon at some point. But definitely still without the HE, much lower damage, lower range. The penetration's literally only, I think, like what? 15 millimeters more. Not worth it at all. So that's why I don't take these. Do these guys come in a fun transport? Oh, you could get more 251/10s if you really wanted them. You can only bring them in A phase, though. That's a bummer. And you really just don't have room for more leaders. Tank tab. I adore this tank tab. I'm not going to lie. I absolutely adore this tank tab. The only thing in my mind it is missing is, like, some sort of really light tank, like maybe another card of Panzer 3s or something would be so sweet. Or maybe like a captured card of T-34s. That'd be sweet too. But I love this mix of armor. In this deck in general, this deck has every one of my favorite tanks in the game. So we have 2 cards here of Panzer 4s. Panzer 4 in A here. We are just single vetting, so we have plenty of them. And double vetting in B phase. They are A-B phase locked, so you can't take them in C, which does suck. But what you can take in C is one of my favorite tanks here, the Stug 4. That is not phase locked. You can take it anytime. So we're bringing in C for all that long time allied bullying. Remember, Stug 4s are phenomenal for bullying allied divisions. And allied divisions need to be bullied. You know, that extra 10 millimeters of armor there over the Stug 3 is just so noticeable. It's kind of crazy how much better this unit performs because of that 10 millimeters of armor. A phase then. We get a T-34-85, 1934 variant, in case you're wondering, with the 1,750 meter range, the beautiful 95 points. I actually really like this unit. This is a Russian tank. I would honestly say this is my favorite Russian tank. Yes, T-34-76s are technically more cost efficient. I will never make the argument that these are more cost efficient. But specifically the 1943 variant of the T-34-85, I just actually think it stacks up pretty well. It's not overly expensive. The 1944 variant runs into this issue that it has the 2K range, and that's the real bonus of it. It has the 2K range. The problem is anything you're fighting at 2,000 meter range with that tank is going to beat it, right? Tigers, Panthers, ISUs, just anything. like anything at all, Fireflies, all of those are going to generally beat the T-34-85 1944, which means that extra 250-meter range just does not translate well into actual combat effectiveness. While the T-34-85 1943, on the other hand, being 15 points less, does really well at 1,750-meter range against all of its opponents, such as Stugs and Panzer IVs and stuff. And when you're getting closer up, these actually deal with Panthers and things okay. Like, they can actually fight at closer ranges against those tanks pretty well. So I'm a big fan of this unit. And also, like, it absolutely dunks on, like, Shermans and stuff. This thing, it absolutely destroys Western Allied armor across the board for the most part. It is much better that way. So I really like this unit, actually. Just a sprinkle, and you get the sprinkle here. You get 3 of them, and it's awesome. B phase, we start bringing in the Panthers. Panther D here. Love the camo on this one, actually. Not phase locked. You can bring it in anytime. You do only get 1 card of these Panther Ds. But I actually really like Panther Ds. They're 5 points cheaper, which is nice, but it's really the availability. You get to bring them in higher availability while still getting that sweet, sweet veterancy. What do you lose for that? You lose one of the MG-34s, but the fact of the matter is I'm not putting my Panthers in a lot of situations where they're supporting infantry, because that's not really their job. Their job is long-range AT denial. That's really what they're for. So losing the machine gun, don't care. The second thing that it loses is 10 millimeters of armor. That does hurt a little bit. Just like getting 10 millimeters can be a big deal, losing 10 does make a difference. These are much more vulnerable to, like, Stugs and Panzer IVs when you're playing a mirror match. That can be a lot more difficult to make these function well. But the availability it's twice as much availability, which is nice. The other issue is the Panther D turret turns really slow. You can't see that in the stats, but it does matter. The turret turn speed is pretty horrendous. And finally, in C phase, we have 1 more card here of Panther A's. The reason I'm bringing these here is because the leaders are both phase locked to A and B phase. Though I would love to use this cool camo here, which I think is pretty sick as well. Unfortunately, I don't really want a Panther A in A phase or B phase, so I don't. Same with the other leaders. There's just not enough availability. You can have a butt ton of Panthers, though, if you really want them. Support tab gets the job done. Has the, like, 3 main things you need in a support tab. Machine guns that are okay, 2K HE, and some little zippy flamer unit. I guess supply as well. So yeah, there you go. The trifecta, the golden trifecta of the support tab. The real ones are really the 2K HE, the machine gun, and the supply. Those are the things you really, really need, I feel like. Again, the machine gun being the least needed of them, but these two for sure. Especially with the OLDY tab in this deck. Things we're not taking, I don't even understand why this unit is here. You have no disheartened infantry. So I'm not 100% sure why this unit even exists in this division at all. Probably just because it's an SS division, like all of them came with this back in the day, and that's probably why it's here. Again, there's absolutely zero reason to ever take this ever. Panzer, these are still underperform. It's hard to argue to bring these. If you're feeling really CQC desperate, I guess if you're in like a tournament game and you know you're playing against a lot of CQC stuff, this is a desperate choice, not an unreasonable one. Notice I'm not taking a commander. A little abnormal for me. I'm a big fan of having commanders in my decks, but I just couldn't find space for it, so I didn't take it. The slot cost can be a bit brutal in this deck in certain places, and the support tab is one of those brutal tabs. Anti-tank tab, phenomenal. Like, just so many great options here. It's hard to pick. Panzerschrecks, hard to pass up those. You do have the Vernichtungstungs. I don't like getting only 3. I like having 4. I like having them come into faster transport and stuff, so when I need to bring them in, 5 points less. Yes, these are a lot more survivable for sure. Argument to be made both ways, to be honest with you. Pack 38, love Pack 38. A nice middle ground of AT, pretty cheap, gets the job done and kills a lot of things that need to be dead. Pack 40 in A and B phase. You could get a third Pack 40 if you wanted it. And then another one of my favorite armored units in the game, the Jagdpanzer IV, the actual one, not the A0. The one with the almost impenetrable armor by all armored allied units. This unit, fantastic. I mean, a Jagdpanzer IV is just so good. It trades well against basically everything that isn't a heavy, heavy tank. You know, getting up into the big cats and the fireflies and things like that. all the medium tanks just fold to this unit, and it's so good. I'm actually disappointed to only have one in here, but that's what it is. Things we're not taking, more Panzer. I mean, you have a crap ton of Panzer in here. Panzer completely useless here. Don't know why you'd ever take this. The Ag Panzer Su-76, kind of sad not to take this, actually. These are really efficient, really solid units to have. If I could find 2 points somewhere, I would absolutely take these. I think they're really good. This thing even has the indirect fire, I believe. No, it's radio, excuse me. But, I mean, radio is still radio. Like, it's really nice to have around. For 35 points, this is a great unit. I'm kind of sad even saying it's not there right now. So, yeah, really great AT tab. AA tab, another one of the kind of not great tabs in the deck. But the two things that are good are really good. You have a Flak 43 here. These are great. Yes, I'm not vetting them. It's a struggle for me. I mean, even... I struggle with this. Like, so I either do it like this. You could single vet this, but then you only have two. That's like really ballsy. The other way to do this is just flip these and have these in A phase and put these in B phase. You could have 8 pieces of AA there, which is nice. You could also vet it. You go down to 6. It depends on how long of a game you expect to play, right? My reasoning for this setup is SDK of Zeds do function relatively well unvetted. Like, they are not an absolute sad face unvetted. You can also bring them in the Berger Panther here, which is an auto, like, cannon armored car thing. I'm trying to remember if something else comes in with them. No, just these. You know what? Just because I said it, I'm going to. Now that I've mentioned it. Why? Add to battle. There we go. The SDK of Zeds are okay unvetted. Like, they're not a complete... Like, they're not a fail unvetted. Also, they move, which means I should be able to keep them alive a lot longer. So having 4 of these is probably more valuable than having 4 to 6 static AA pieces. Although, Flak 43, phenomenal. Love this unit. One of the most solid AA pieces in the game. The Berger Panther here is nice. It's a pretty heavily armored autocannon unit, all things considered. And I'm taking it, and for 5 points, it's kind of dumb not to take it, to be honest with you. Do pack 40s come with it? I mean, anything can, I guess. It's just really slow then to bring in. That's the only issue. I'm trying to think, like, what... Do these guys come with it? No, they don't. I would have considered that, honestly. Pretty seriously consider that. Maybe you want to switch out your pack 40 for the Berger Panther. Sure, just because it's fun. Teehee. Anyway, anti-air, yeah. If you really wanted to, you can take more 20 mils if you're in for the suffering. You know, if you're into that. If you're into that sort of thing. Although you can bring it in with the flak. So this is not terrible. This is like an acceptable thing. Double vet B phase. If you feel like if you're going up against a division that has more air problems, you know, you can muster up a relatively large AA net. It's just not going to be like all incredible stuff. RD tab, this is solid, not exciting. We're taking the 81mm mortar. These are always solid. There's absolutely nothing to complain about. A mortar half track. Taking the battery fear. We need the leaders. SK-18, one of the best counter battery RD pieces in the game. Super accurate. And no, it has nothing to do with the accuracy noted on the card. Before you all tell me how, look at it's 45. It's not. It has nothing to do with it. Don't ask me why. That's just how it works. This is for direct fire. If this thing is literally shooting at something it can see, you know, within 2,000 meter range, then it uses this accuracy number, you know, and then this one for the AP. So please do not tell me that that is the number. It's not. And then to my chagrin, to my unhappiness, we are taking the Hummel here. I don't know. I just don't understand why these feel so much worse than the SK, whatever the actual big gun is. It's the exact same gun. The FH-18 or whatever it is. I don't know why these seem so much worse. A, they have less ammo. That is annoying. But I swear to goodness, these things just perform worse in every like way. They seem to be less accurate. I swear to God, they shoot slower. But they're a necessary evil here if you want heavy RD, and I do. I like heavy RD. I like playing the long game. Things I'm not taking, the Bale Boxer, the 81mm mortar. Why would you do that when you have the mortar? The half track, the 105s are still one of the worst RD pieces in the game. Vespa, by extension, is also one of the worst RD pieces in the game. even so bad that I don't even want to take it over the crappy Hummel, even though I could get 6 of them. They're still trash. The 120, not really worth it. Availability really sucks. I always want this unit to work. The Maltier, I'm going to do my best here. Willfachwerfer is not good. I want it to be, and it seems so neat when you're using it. It is a glorified but bad off-map. That's what it is. It's actually like a glorified but bad off-map. But if you're looking for that effect, technically for 80 points, reloadable, can be pretty good if you're using it for that purpose only. Air tab. This is one of the most brutal slot cost things in the game. It's like 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. Like, they don't want you to have an Air Force in this deck. Even though the planes you have here are actually pretty darn good. You get the Focke-Wulf 190, D9, medium resilience, super fast. This is, I actually think, one of, if not the fastest German fighters in the game. I want to say it's the fastest German fighter in the game. Pretty solid loadout. It's not overly strong loadout. Not as good as the Focke-Wulf A8 loadout. Not a great strafer. It's kind of too fast for that. The availability also sucks. So this is not like an all upside fighter. But the medium resilience, the super high speed is nice. This unit can actually catch stuff and shoot it down, which is a definite plus. With the AA tab being a little thin, I don't recommend leaving these at home. And then we're taking the HE-111, the nuke bomber, with a singular 1,000 kilogram bomb, a nice price of 115 points, and an very mid speed for a very good resilience bomber. The veterancy curve is super weird, this whole 146 thing. Never really understood this curve, but that's what it is. Camo is pretty cool. Other options, we have some JU that can actually strafe a little bit. Still not amazing, wouldn't take it. JU-88 high fly. If you're going to take Recon, I would take this for sure. HE-111 with the crappy 50 kilogram bombs. Even though these are not as bad as they used to be, they're still bad. I would still never take this. I would take this one over that if I was going to take another HE-111. But honestly, if I could fit any more planes in here, it would 100% be the Focke-Wulf 190 F8 with the AT rockets. This is actually one of the best Axis AT rocket planes in the game, if not the best Axis, specifically Axis AT rocket plane. It actually has enough rockets to kill tanks in a single pass, which is really nice. Technically speaking, only 5 of the rockets have to land, which is a realistic number. It's pretty fast. It's got medium resilience. It actually doubles all right as a fighter in its own right. Yes, you could argue about not taking the Focke-Wulf D9 and taking this instead, but this is still much slower. It's 15 points more as well. It's a less maneuverable. And I don't know, something about sending my really expensive and semi-precious AT rocket plane against a fighter just doesn't feel right to me. This is a nice addition, though, if you're coming up against decks with IS-2s and things. This can really help out, so maybe a swap or find 3 points somewhere. So, yeah, 5th SS Panzer Viking. Really like this division. I actually find it really fun. I think it's a nice jack-of-all-trades kind of division that has some really strong tabs in the form of a nice mix, a really nice mix of tanks. Really solid infantry tab for what it is. It performs better than a lot of other Panzer Division tabs. Excellent AT tab as well. The support weapons you need. AA to get by for sure. RD tab that's there. Underwhelming. Recon, plenty of divisions that are good. Lack Recon in general. Air tab that is unfortunately phase locked to hell. And yeah, a good division in my opinion. If you guys enjoyed this, hit that like button. Subscribe. Consider checking out that YouTube membership. Thanks so much, guys. Have a fantastic day.